live from the Cajun capital of the world.
I'm the average Lafayette, Louisiana kid.
See, I'm back on my...
Hey, fellas. Hey, Raging Review said, congratulations. Say what's up, y'all. Yeah!
People that have courage don't have no extra gene. There's no difference in you. The difference is, are you going to sit down when it's time to stand up?
Welcome in to another edition of Rage and Review. Your boy Nick in, along with the other boys, KG, Mike, and Lane, all having a pretty good Thursday night. All outside of the Cajuns not making it any further in the conference tournament. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But outside of that, been a pretty good day, boys. How y'all doing? It's been a couple weeks since I've been doing the weekly show, and kind of forgot how to drive this thing. I'm going to screw up before the night's over.
It's like riding a bike for you, Nick. I know it. Probably even easier than riding a bike, if I'm honest with you.
You don't want to see my fat ass try to get back on a bike. Maybe I need to get back on a bike.
Oh,
Lord, man. Who knows? Yeah. So last time we talked, it was the weekend, and we had just wrapped up that series, and it was fun seeing you boys. And I know I talked to you, Mike, Lane. It was good seeing you too. But KG, we had a little bit of fun out there, didn't we? I'm still feeling the effects of it in my nose right now, if I'm being honest with you.
I mean, dude, it's nothing like being back home, right? With the boys and at the ballpark and hanging out with the crew. You kind of get it firsthand, live in action. And it's a whole different ballgame than watching it on a TV, across state lines. So we were excited to see you, man. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, and I'm glad we were able to get a sweep. Yeah,
definitely. Experiencing Section A is much different in person. We'll get into that game as well a little bit later. Right now, we'll thank our sponsors, and we'll show you some new toys I came up with back after this. We'd like to thank the following partners who make Rage and Review possible. Our title sponsor, the Best Stop Family Market, with locations in Katy and Baytown, Texas, Toledo Bend, Karen Crow, and of course the official location opened in 1986 in Scott. Visit the Best Stop and ask about the Rage and Review tailgate platters. Gulf Coast Bank, title sponsor of the Tailgate Show every Saturday, 3 hours before kickoff. Planet Radio 106.7, Lafayette Roofing, The Yard Goat, Yes Please Branding and Marketing, Old Time Grocery, Stride Safety Solutions, Eat Lafayette brought to you by Lafayette Travel, Rage and Hydration, and Dr. Brett Venable at Recovery Chiromed. And we'd also like to thank our Patreon sponsors listed here. For only $2 a month, you too could have early access to uncut interviews before they air here on our shows. You also get an exclusive Patreon icon next to your name on Cajun Threads, the official message form for Rage and Review. If you are interested in joining as a Patreon, visit us at patreon.com/rageandreview. Thanks to all of our corporate and Patreon sponsors for making this show possible. As always, got to thank the fine folks over at Best Stop Cajun Market locations out in Katy and Baytown, Texas. Look at KG representing on the pod. I love that, man. Also got them out in Karen Crow, Broussard, up in Toledo Bend, and of course the mothership in Lafayette celebrating 40 years. Congratulations to all of those folks. And because I got here late, I didn't get a chance to play around with this, so let's hope it works right. But we'll welcome you to our new layout. We're going to come down with a little rundown. We'll have stuff on the side. We'll still mention your comments as always, but this gives us a little guide, if you will, to go around. You remember part of the interruption where it has a little clock? If I could put the clock on here, I'd put a clock to with Jerry's here, especially because you can't get that dude to shut up, and it goes bzzz and all that stuff. So Can't have that on here, but we'll do our best to get this up and running, boys. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. Are y'all ready to get started? All right, let's go to the first topic of the night. Is midweek game against the UNO Privateers over at the Teague. And I mean, WTF happened is really the question that we're all asking. Very reminiscent of the year we were in 2014. We were number 1 in the country, and UNO comes in with a 200-something RPI and upsets us at home. Not that drastic, because all of our chances really weren't sitting on that one midweek game, obviously being number 1 in the country, but we're a little bit worried about, are we going to host? Are we going to have to travel somewhere? Like, what does it do for us in the long term? And we poo-pooed the bet against UNO, lost that game 6-9 in extras. Colt Brown with a nice, should have been out of the ballpark, but a nice hit to tie the game in the 9th to send us in extras, and then UNO scored 3 at the top of the 10th. Story of the game for me, man, was that you had one of the worst pitching teams in the country, and you could only get 3 hits against them through like 7 innings. Not a good look. And one of the things I think you said, KG, or maybe it was you, Mike, we got to hit the ball this weekend. We got to hit the ball this week. We got to hit the ball against UNO. We kept saying that. Somebody kept saying that. We got to hit the ball against UNO. And we didn't, but then you look at it from a higher perspective and you go, we just won 5 games this weekend, emotional weekend. We were due for a letdown against UNO, KG, and that's exactly what happened. A little concerning from the focus standpoint, because again, our bats just needed to get going and really couldn't do that until later in the game when we got some quality at bats.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about the game as a whole, we were not solid in any phase of the game, honestly. I mean, it was our worst pitching performance of the year, like you mentioned already. Offensively, another letdown game, and then even on the defensive side, late errors costed us runs, and that's what how the game got away from us. I mean, we scuffled along through 6 innings. Through 6 innings, what was it, boys? A 3-1 ball game. I think we took the lead in the bottom of the 6th. And when we took a 4-3 lead, I finally said, okay, maybe we'll score some late runs, put this thing to bed. But yeah, through 6 innings, we totally scuffled. And then, you know what? UNO stuck around. In the 8th inning, they scored those 2 runs to retake the lead, score another one in the 9th. Now, as you mentioned, Colt Brown hits a bases clearing triple to tie the game. And we weren't able to execute and get that winning run in. And that's ultimately another reason, we may have lost that game, but it's just, we lost all phases of the game, Tuesday night, boys. And it was really disheartening coming off of a sweep, the biggest sweep of the year, something that completely springboarded you back into the, middle of the Sun Belt. And then, you turn around and you lose to a very pedestrian UNO team that was ranked 215 in RPI. A team that honestly, and I'm going to say it on the pod, this is our pod, I'm going to speak my piece, a team that honestly we probably should have canceled the game. There were cancellations all across the Sun Belt Tuesday night, and I don't understand why we were not one of them. That game, there was nothing positive other than getting a W in the win column that could have happened from that game, other than what exactly happened, which is losing to them and then dropping about 10 spots in the RPI. So now you all but solidified yourself for having to either win out to make a regional, because we were sitting pretty. You could have went to App State and only have to have, taken 2 of 3, maybe take 2 of 3 from Coastal and maybe, scratch a couple games in the tournament. You would have been right outside the at-large opportunity. Losing a game like this, another quad 4 loss. I mean, you all but have to win the tournament now, regardless of what you do in the regular season.
I don't know. You guys keep saying that. Definitely. I don't know. Look, I guess I'm a little bit different at this point because I gave up getting disappointed probably midway through the season. So I'm not getting my hopes up for anything. And I think somebody had made the comment, well, we're out of regionals because this game cost us a regional. No. This game didn't cost us a regional. You go back to when we lost the series against Troy, when we lost against ULM, when we lost against James Madison, when we got swept at Texas State. That's when we lost our chance at a regional. This game is just a bump in a very long road of lots of bumps that were a lot bigger and lots of potholes, I should say, because I'm moving to Louisiana. Got to get used to that again. Lots of potholes on the way to where we are today. So when people say, "Oh, well, we're out of the tournament because of of the UNO loss. No, we're not. That's just a symptom of the bigger problem. I think that's something that Josh said earlier this week, and I agree with him. It's a symptom of the bigger problem, which is we didn't take care of business throughout the season when we should have. We should be looking at this like we did in 2014 and saying, oh, crap, it's going to hurt our RPI, but we're still in. Now, can we get in? I don't know. Well, there's so much movement. You guys have to understand there's so much movement in the RPI and so many things that can happen between now and the end of the regular season that who freaking knows if I think we still have to win a couple of games in the tournament for sure to get in, but I don't know. I'm just going to let things play out. Not going to get too upset. And I'm glad you did not, KG, get into pitching because that's something I wanted to ask Mike about is Bryce. I'm going to throw it back up here. Bryce said 15 freebies and 3 hits through 8 innings. 17 freebies through 3 innings. And that's not just walks. That's hit by pitches. That's just dumbass mental errors. And you could tell Deggs got frustrated. You got frustrated too. And I think we all got frustrated by that. 17 freebies by our pitching staff on a Wednesday night. Come on, man. We got to be better than that.
We had that. That's exactly what got me so emotional in that game, and it got me way too emotional. The alcohol didn't help also, but we had 10 walks and 7 hit by pitches, 17 freebies. And what got me is that Garrett Carter started. Okay, cool. That's fine. That was his first start of his career this year. His longest outing this year was probably 3 1/3. So I didn't have any issues with Garrett Carter, right? I think Garrett Carter was good enough to start, and he's good enough to beat UNO. He's got a fastball that sits 95. He should have dominated UNO, if we're being honest. What happened after all that is what really got me. Cole Flanagan, to me, should have not been the first one out the bullpen. If he was a setup guy for Parker Smith, then I understand. But Cole Flanagan should have not been the first one out the bullpen. He's not ready. He needs more reps under his belt. And Parker Smith, when he came in, I thought Parker Smith was really good. He hit that first inning, he was lights out. That was the correct guy to go to. I thought they were going to start Parker Smith because they started against Southern the week before. He had 0 innings this past weekend. So to me, it's setting him up for a start on a Tuesday. Perfect. Now that I see Garrett Carter starts, that's fine, no issue. But I'm expecting Parker Smith to be the first one out the bullpen, and he's not, and it's Cole Flanagan. That, to me, was a wrong move, unless he was a setup guy to give Parker Smith more time in the bullpen. After Parker Smith, he goes into the next inning. I think he gets 2 on with no outs, okay? I think Parker Smith is good enough to get out of the jam, but I also see the reasoning of Deggs pulling him and going to Hayden Pearson. That could have gone both ways, right? It's a perspective. It's a coach thing. Either way, I wasn't mad. I thought Parker Smith is mature enough and good enough to get past it. He goes in Hayden Pearson. Hayden Pearson probably pitched the best he's ever pitched this year. He had 0 hits, 0 walks, 2 strikeouts. He gets out the jam in that inning where Parker comes out, gets us out of a bind, 2 on, 0 outs, strikeout, gets 3 guys in a row, gets him out. He goes in the following inning, gets the leadoff guy out, and then they pull him. That's where I started getting emotional and frustrated because he had no reason to come out. He was absolutely dealing.
Mike showed a little bit of fire, and I love it from you, man.
I was frustrated because Parker Smith and Hayden Pearson are really good guys in the bullpen in the middle relief, and Hayden Pearson showed no reason to come out. If anything, he should have finished that inning. And then you go Murphy Brooks, right? Not a lot of reps. He had a great outing his last outing. Let's be honest, it wasn't so good. And from Murphy, it goes Pappenbrock, which he gives up 3 hits. He gives up a walk, faces 7 batters, 1 strikeout, gives up a run. Then you pull him and go JR. JR, everybody was on a short leash. Cole was on a short leash. Parker was on a short leash. Hayden, for some reason, was on a short leash. Why wasn't JR on a short leash? He faced 9 batters, 1 hit, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 2 walks. He had 3 hit by pitches. He should have never gone 9 batters. If anything, JR should have been the short leash. By that time, the damage was already done. It was hard to come back. We batted 206 as a team last night. Our sticks weren't hot. They batted 235 against us. And by that time, with alcohol in me and a lot of it, I was completely frustrated because from Murphy to JR, it was a complete disaster. Part of it was, if we're being honest, coaching decisions from Parker Smith and Hayden Pearson. And then also the guys got to produce on the mound. So it's a 50-50. You can't blame Deggs, but you also can't blame all the players. It was a little bit of both. And I was chirping really, really loud. And unfortunately, I was
pissed off Deggs. Let's just say that. You pissed off Deggs because they're, and your wife, more importantly. Deggs was already pissed off.
And so, yeah, she was embarrassed. She had to walk away. Apparently I was very loud. I was booing. And I yelled at Deggs, and I said, and I'm talking about JR. I yelled at him and said, he should have been out. He should have been out. And not knowing I was that loud, he heard me. And he chirped back. And I was completely frustrated. And to the fans around me that heard it, I apologize.
Bro, don't apologize. It's baseball. Come on now. You didn't say anything. You didn't give any expletives. You said what the entire first base or third base section was thinking at the very same time.
And a guy passed by me and he said, he goes, you said what we're all thinking. And it made me feel a little better, but I should have handled it better. Too much alcohol. And I apologize to the fans around me that heard it. I apologize to the players, administration. I actually reached out. I reached out to Deggs.
Oh, bro, you know you didn't.
I did. It was bugging me because that's not who I am. I am passionate about baseball. I love baseball. I love the program. I'm all in with UL baseball. And I reached out to him and apologized. And I was like, look, it was inappropriate, right? I was extremely loud, and not knowing that he would email me back, he did. And he emailed me back, and he accepted the apology, and he understood that it came out of passion and not hatred. Also, I told him a lot of alcohol was involved, but at the end of the day, that shouldn't have happened. But also, I was so frustrated with some of the decisions made by the coaches, and also the product that was on the mound. These guys weren't producing. They weren't commanding the zone. Like, too many walks and too many hit by pitches, 17 freebies. That UNO, if we're being honest, UNO is not that good. They had 5 errors, and the majority came from the shortstop. There were so many times we could have ran with this game, and we didn't. And the back end of the bullpen kind of let us down, and it was very, very frustrating to watch from that middle to the end of the game. And look, I don't like national players, but we got to be better on the mound because those are older guys that are on the mound. JR, Pappenbrock, Murphy, those are older guys. But I think the main thing I was frustrated about is Hayden Pearson was extremely dealing. And he shouldn't have come out that time in the game. It should have been longer. He should have given you a reason to take him out, and he didn't. He was dealing. He had a no-hitter. That's a coach's dream when you put a guy in, a no-hitter, no walks. And he completely gets pulled, and chaos happens, and that's exactly when I got frustrated, man. I think hitting did enough to kind of get us the game, but I think the pitching lost us that game.
Can't believe you emailed Deggs, bro. You didn't say you were with Rage and Review, right?
No.
You didn't. Okay, good. No. Shit. It's
all
already mad at me. We don't need him mad more, right? Like, we good now. Hopefully we good.
I just wanted to apologize to the fans around that heard. I've never, ever done that before in my life. I was just really involved in it.
I'm pissed I missed it more than anything. I want to see you get fired. You're always so laid back and just go with the flow. Like, I want to see you get pissed off. I'm mad that I missed that whole thing going back and forth. That'd have been awesome.
I just felt this game from an RPI standpoint, losing this game, it felt like that auto bid was just disappearing. And it felt like we were going to have to work 10 times harder to try to pull this off. And I know we still have to get in the tournament, right? We still got to go to App State. We still got to face Coastal. We're still fighting to get in the tournament. But we lost what? We dropped 10 points. And then the following day, we didn't even play. And I think we dropped 2 more points. So that's how much it was a high-risk, low-reward game. And Cole was right. That game should have been canceled. We didn't get anything. Even if we won, we probably wouldn't have jumped up in the RPI. Maybe won. If not, we'd have stayed the same. It was a high-risk, low-reward game, and it cost us. It cost us, 10, 14 points?
You know, and I get where you guys are coming from as far as saying don't play the game. I'm complete opposite. Take care of freaking business. Yeah. Like, we scheduled this game long time ago, And we know who UNO is year in and year out. Sometimes they're kind of decent. Most of the time, they're just playing upset, right? It's not the UNO of old, like the old Sun Belt when they were winning conference championships. This is a different UNO team that shut down just a few years ago and rebuilt itself as a program. So that's why I say don't cancel it. Don't be like one of the other guys who've canceled their games. And I hope that reflects in the decision-making as we go into decisions if we're on the bubble or not, because we played the game. They didn't. They could be in the same position that we're in, and we could be in because they lost that game, but we never know because they didn't play it. So I hope that's held against them. I know they said last year, the committee said that going forward, they're going to pay more attention to teams at the end of the season that cancel games. Well, do that. I want to see you take that into consideration because we could have canceled it, but I don't like it. Because like I said, we scheduled this 2 years ago. So if we go out and win the damn game, it shouldn't depend on one game at the end of the season to play this little RPI game. Play the damn game, and if you don't, you should be penalized, just as if you would have lost it. That is my opinion, KG. So you're the one who said it at first. That's why I'm going back to you on it. I don't like. I get where you're coming from, and I get how this affected the end of the season. However, I think it's a bullshit move by teams who do it.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, that's the other side of the coin, right? And like, there's a comment right here that says, and I want to bring it up. I know I have the ability to now. I feel like canceling that game is kind of a losing mentality. Well, the flip side of that is you lost the game. So you can have a losing mentality or you can lose the game. Which one's more important to you? All I'm saying is, from a statistical standpoint, and we all know how important RPI is to the committee. We all know it. That's what they live and die by. There was no upside of playing that game Tuesday night. Teams all across the Sun Belt and all across the country canceled their midweek games this week. North Carolina being one of them. Like, there are top-tier schools right now canceling midweek games against teams with 200 RPIs. They don't want to slide anymore. So I get that y'all can call it a losing mentality, and I know Deggs would never cancel games like that. That's not the kind of coach he is. But the bottom line is, it is a strategical move. Until somebody comes out and punishes teams for canceling games at the end of a season like where we are right now, it's absolutely a strategical move. And I want to make this known. I'm not calling for the cancellation of Tuesday's game after the fact. Obviously, we lost, and hindsight's 2020.
A lot of people were saying it before. Trust me.
I called for the cancellation Monday. Oh, I called it after the game Sunday. I knew what UNO was this year, a team that had maybe 20 wins. I think they got 20 now, and they were sitting at 215 in the RPI. That does us no favors. That does not move the needle for us. Losing moves the needle backwards. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. The game's been played. We laid a giant egg in all three phases. Yeah, absolutely. The pitching is the biggest concern now. I'm still not going to put a microscope under it because we know what we have with, Cody Brash and Sawyer Pruitt. That's our Friday guys. So I think if we're still going to get off on a strong foot Friday night against App State, and hopefully that'll set us up for the rest of the weekend. So I'm hoping it's just a blip on the radar, just a really bad pitching performance by some bullpen guys, because at the end of the day, everybody that threw is a bullpen guy. None of them are starters like, Herman, Cody, Sawyer. So hopefully, it'll be a night and day difference whenever we get to App State and we can take care of business, especially tomorrow night, because very important weekend, boys. I would argue that this weekend might be more important than Coastal because we are so tight in the standings. We're one game away from being, fourth or fifth, and we're one game away from being, 8th, 9th, or 10th. So there's no leeway here. You can either separate or fall back. So this weekend is extremely important, and I'm kind of ready to just watch this UNO game out my mouth and move on. There's really no good things I have to say about it.
Lane, I'll let you close out in a second with your thoughts because I haven't gone to you yet, but I just got to say, it doesn't matter if it's all bullpen guys. You got to throw strikes, man. That's your number one job as a pitcher, is to throw freaking strikes and don't hit a batter. And we did that throughout the entire ball game. And I don't care if you're the 5th string, 6th string, the guy last in the bullpen who has a pitch, throw a freaking strike. And the fact that so many guys couldn't throw a strike Tuesday night is really, really concerning for me. Lane, I'll let you close it out.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch a lot of the game because I was at work, but seeing the group chat, I was like, oh boy, here we go again. And the amount of walks that we gave up is just concerning because we're going to need those guys at some point during the tournament. and we can't have them giving up free passes, can't have them hitting batters. We need them to perform to their best ability, and they didn't show that Tuesday night.
You are correct. Not a good showing by the Cajuns, but we do have to move on. Life goes on. The sun came up today, like the song says. So we do have to move on, and we are moving on quickly to App State. The team is there safely. My brother texted me a couple hours ago, said they landed. I said, oh, you landed, but you got another couple hours in front of you, brother. At least it's not snowing up there. I've been there when it's snowing. That is not a fun drive. But App State this weekend over at Beaver Field at Jim and Betty Smith Stadium in Boone, North Carolina. We kick off the series Friday night, tomorrow night at 5 o'clock Central. So it shows 6 p.m. Eastern on the schedule, which means it'll be 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, followed by a 2 o'clock Central game on Saturday and 12 noon Central on Sunday. So don't let those times get you confused. They're on Eastern time because they're on the worst time. Best time is Central. I'm just saying. Central time is the best time, if you ask me. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. I'll go on a tangent. Cole, I know you did some in-depth kind of look at this team. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect from the Mountaineers this weekend.
You know what? I will as soon as you switch this rundown board. I want to use this PTI thing. There it is, baby. I wasn't
sorry, y'all gonna have to keep me on point because I get into it, forget to hit the button, but y'all can hit the button too. I think you can. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. I got it for you.
I'm scared to hit any kind of buttons on this thing, Nick, because the one time I hit one, it ruined the whole picture frame, and we were done with that.
Well,
but
that
anyway,
is true. Don't touch anything.
Exactly. So let's talk about the third place App State Mountaineers, 28-18 in overall, 15-9 in conference, 17-8 at home, which, like you said, we're going to Boone this weekend. Let's talk about their offense first. They're going to be led by left fielder Drew DuPont, leads the team in batting average, hitting .396. Slugs 604, which also leads the team. Listen to this, guys. Leads the team in least amount of strikeouts with only 10 on the entire season. And his on-base percentage is 479.
We had 10 before the third inning. Well, not strikeouts. Well, no, we struck out. Yeah, 10 before the third inning last night, it seemed like.
The kid is insane. He is the top hitter on the top-ranked App State. And listen, when I get to their team stats, it's very eye-opening across the board. But Drew DuPont definitely is a guy to look for. At shortstop, they're led by Steven Smith. He's hitting .384, leads the team in runs scored with 46, hits with 66, doubles with 17, RBIs with 48. So their shortstop is a stud right there in the middle. In center field, you'll see Charlie Evans hitting .377, leads the team in triples with 3 and stolen bases with 7. At second base, they kind of have a couple of guys. It's a little bit of a platoon deal. You might see Jake Mamau, .369 hitter, and then rotating with him, sharing starts. You may see Joseph Zamora, who's hitting .285 and leads the team in triples, or is tied for the team lead with 3. Let's go to the third baseman, Ethan Puig, who he's hitting .330 on the season. In right field, you'll see Riley Luft. At first base, you'll see Jalen Seward. And at DH, kind of the same thing at second base. They have 2 guys that start for him, but their main one is Cameron Miller, hitting .301, leads the team in home runs with 8 and walks drawn with 29. Other than him, you'll see Tank Yagubi. He's hitting .290. And I'm kind of looking down my list here. Doesn't lead in any other stats. That's why Cameron Miller is the main guy, because of that home run production they get from him. At catcher, another guy, another platoon situation, main one being Colton Denton, who hits .295, and you'll also see Tommy Walker, who hits .218. Let's talk about their team totals, and then I'll give you their Sunbelt ranks, and then we'll go around the horn and talk about this offense. Like I said, this is going to be the most eye-opening part of the segment because of how good this offense is. Better than Coastal, better than Southern Miss. Here we go. As a team, they're hitting .319, first in the Sunbelt. They have scored 392 runs, first in the Sunbelt. They have 506 hits, first in the Sunbelt. They have 101 doubles, second in the Sunbelt. They have 39 home runs, 10th in the Sunbelt, which may play into our pitching hand. They have 358 RBIs, first in the Sunbelt. They are slugging .470, second in the Sunbelt. They have drawn 224 walks, first in the Sunbelt. They have 303 strikeouts, first in the Sunbelt. in terms of fewest. 423 on base percentage, first in the Sun Belt. 45 steals, which is ninth in the Sun Belt, and their fielding percentage, which is something I hope we can take advantage of, is sitting at 961. Really bad. That ranks them at 14th, dead last. But from an offensive standpoint, they lead in, or they're top 2 in every major category outside of home runs hit and stolen bases. We have our absolute hands full this weekend, especially coming off that UNO game that was our worst pitching performance of the year. Now you got to go to Boone, North Carolina, and play the top-ranked offense in the Sun Belt. There's a reason this team is right behind Coastal, right behind Southern Miss. And, you don't think about, when you think of App State, you don't think of App State baseball. You think of App State football, right? Well, I'm here to tell you App State baseball is the real deal, and they can hit the shit out the ball. And I'm going to say it explicitly like that because they do. So if the Cajuns pitching doesn't show up, it could be a very long weekend. As I mentioned earlier, though, I have full faith in my guys, Cody Brash and Sawyer Pruitt. That's what we see on Friday night. You can even mix in the Parker Smiths and the Hayden Pearsons, again showing you that they belong, being, the two really only consistent arms in the midweek game. So I do have a lot of faith in the top end guys we have in this bullpen. Now, listen, if they're able to chase those guys and we get deeper into the bullpen, we have a problem. So I'll throw it to you guys. Let's go around the horn. Give me your thoughts about this App State Mountaineer offense.
Yeah, scary. They're slugging 470, as you mentioned. And first in so many categories, like you also mentioned. I mean, we're about neck and neck in home runs. They've got a couple more than we do, so they're not going to hit the ball over the fence a lot. I say that. I hope they don't. It seems like the one thing our bullpen has done, knock on wood, is they have limited the damage with giving up home runs. They figured that part out. But I think potentially that opens the door for Herm to have a good outing on Saturday. It's going to be about the same time as the game was last weekend and what he does every week, and he's going to be in that routine, and I think that bodes well for us. So I like the fact that they don't hit the long ball. At the same time, they hit the ball all over the ballpark, and they play very well at home, and we're going to have to pitch well at this point of the season against a team that hits really well, and we're going to have to swing the bat. We can't have another UNO pop up. It's going to be a game of momentum where if we go ahead by 3 and App State comes back and score 4, we're going to have to come back and play with them. And sometimes this season we've been very good at doing that, and sometimes we've not. That's what I need to see out of this team this weekend, is not give up the free bases and hit the ball. Those are the two things that I need to see this weekend that I think will give us some success against a very good App State hitting team. Now, what I will say is one of the things that you see that's a stark contrast to the Cajuns, but that could be the fact that they hit a lot of doubles, so they don't necessarily need to steal a lot of bases, is they're 45 for 62 on the season versus Louisiana's 93 for 123. Something to keep an eye on this weekend. Mike, what you think about the offense for App State?
I agree. We got to play well-rounded ball this weekend. That is a really good offense. So from a national standpoint, their batting average is 9th in the nation. They're tied 190th in home runs nationally, 69th in the slugging percentage, 17th on base percentage, 27th in runs, 29th in doubles, 97th in drawing walks. So this offense is not only dominating the Sun Belt, they're dominating national stats. Their offense is top 30 in the nation in majority of their offensive stats. So we're about to get tested the next 2 weeks. That's a really good offense, and we're going to have to. I think our pitching could calm it down a little bit. We're going to have to play complete baseball, pitching on the mound, fielding, and hitting. We're going to have to hit a lot this weekend. But if we're looking at just their qualified hitters, I won't go through all of them, but just their qualified hitters, Steven Smith, their hottest bat, 12% strikeout rate. He's not going to strike out a lot. Charlie Evans, batting .377, he has a 9% strikeout rate. Ethan Puig, 6% strikeout rate. Extremely low, and that's so impressive. Riley Luft, 15% strikeout rate. and Joseph Zamora, 10% strikeout rate. These guys are not going to strike out. If you do, props to our pitchers. They have a lot of barrel. They're going to hit the ball. As a team, 319 is extremely impressive. So many guys are hitting above 300. It's extremely impressive. They're going to have to – our pitchers are going to have to fight. Those are some really good hitters. Keep the ball in the park, which I think we will. I don't think we're going to give up a lot of home runs. They're not a big home run hitting team, but we got to keep hits to a single. Don't let them stretch doubles. Keep everything in the park. Keep everything on the ground. Our defense is phenomenal. Don't let that ball get in the air. Control the at-bats. Don't get late in counts. We have to start off with first pitch strikes. And the back end of the bullpen is really going to have to step up. After UNO, that was really bad, but here's a chance for them to bounce back and get back in it. And it's going to take pitching, hitting, and fielding to really put this hot team to cool off a little bit. But we're about to get tested. Our pitchers, definitely.
Now, Milton mentioned earlier the soft schedule that App State has played. Look, I get that. Earlier in the season, they had a softer schedule. They swept Canisius, lost 10-5 to Duke. They swept North Carolina A&T. They beat Southern Illinois. They got swept by Gardner-Webb. Did not know that, but they got swept by Gardner-Webb earlier in the season. Lost 9-8 to Wake Forest. Swept Presbyterian. Lost 3 to Coastal, lost to Western Carolina, and then they started turning it around in conference play, which is really where they've done a lot of their damage. And so you could say, yeah, I agree with you. They had a week out of conference schedule. In fact, looking at RPIs and numbers, their non-conference strength of schedule is 254. Not very good. So I get what you're saying, but let's take a look about the time that they started playing good baseball in conference. They scored 6, 4, and 7 against Coastal. They scored 10, 10, and 7 against Old Dominion. They scored 17 against UNC Asheville. They scored 10-4 against Marshall. 18 runs against UNC Asheville again. They won 2 out of 3 against ULM, scoring 13, 12, and 9 in 3 games. Swept James Madison, scoring 10, 19, and 14 runs, and then put it together against Georgia Southern, scoring 16 wins on Friday, 11 on Saturday, 7 on Sunday, and then scored. It wasn't that proficient in scoring against Troy, but still won the series. So you can say they had a weaker schedule, KG, going into the Sun Belt, which I will give you. But since they've been in the belt and playing in conference play, they've scored a lot of runs and made a lot of teams look silly outside of Coastal.
What side of the coin do you want to be on? Because it's almost night and day. The Cajuns played one of the hardest non-conference schedules in the country, and we actually performed pretty well. And then we get to the Sun Belt play, and we, have steadily declined from there. Now we kind of have plateaued, and we're kind of coming back up. And then App State, plays a very weak schedule at the front end, and then they get into the Sun Belt and just continue to do what they're doing. So, I get it. They played a very weak non-conference schedule, but the problem is we're not a non-conference no more. We're actually finishing out the regular season, and they're still taking care of business. As I mentioned, they're a game out of second place right now. So clearly this team, and we didn't even get to the pitching yet, their offense is keeping them in every series. And Nick, I'm glad you kind of ran through a lot of their schedule, especially when it came to conference. I don't know if you guys realize they took a lot of series against teams that the Cajuns lost to. They took the series against ULM. They took the series against Troy. They took the series against JMU. I even think they swept JMU. These are series that the Cajuns lost. So, yeah, we can sit here and say they played a pretty weak non-conference and midweek schedule. You can throw that out the window. It's the end of the ball year, and this team's hitting 320. 320 with 2 weeks left to go in the regular season is asinine. That is, like you said, Mike, that's top 30 numbers in the country. I don't care who you playing. And it's worse that you got to go to Boone to do it. Now, what's giving me hope is that they don't hit a lot of home runs. They're 10th in the conference in home runs. They don't hit a lot of home runs, but they do hit the ball. But the Cajuns play good defense. So there's a lot of things that we match up with them well. There are. But the bottom line for me, and we've been talking about this, over the last few weeks, it was the offense that needed to win us those games. And I've been saying this all year long. When we go on the road, offense needs to, hit with the other team, keep us in ball games. I'm here to tell you, boys, this weekend's all about pitching. because if
I
this
think
weekend
that's
for
a
me-
perfect seg about pitching, because we need to get into the pitching.
Yes.
Because before we talk about what we can do, let's hear about App State. Can their pitching hold up against the Cajuns' offense? I guess I don't know it depends which Cajuns' offense shows up this weekend. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean we're streaking, right? We're in a good situation right now outside of Tuesday's game where we laid an egg. The Cajuns over the last 2.5 weeks have been playing their best offensive ball of the year. So hopefully, like we talked about, hopefully Tuesday was just a blip on the radar and we get back to, taking care of business. Now, we haven't mentioned it one time tonight, which is a shame on us, but it is going to be some big shoots to fill with Rigo possibly being out for the rest of the season. Rigo is one of those guys who was a top 3 hitter on this ball club, right in the middle of that defense, played some really solid defense on top of being a really solid hitter. And he's just a phenomenal kid and a phenomenal locker room guy, which he's still going to be there. He's still going to be, cheering on the boys. So I'm not really concerned from a dugout standpoint, us losing him, because he's going to be the first one out of the dugout giving a high five. But on-field production, losing Rigo does hurt. A senior leader that does so many different things for you. So it's going to be a challenge for the Cajuns. We're finally getting some positive offensive production the last 2.5 weeks, and now you lose a staple of that offense. Or who's gonna pick up the torch and run with it? We saw Donovan LaSalle play second base Tuesday. I'm hearing Josh Lim might get the start this weekend, which I think is the consistency with all of us in the group message. That's who we expect to see. We saw Griffin Hebert play a little bit last weekend when Rigo got hurt. So, but it doesn't matter who plays the field. They got to pick up the baton and run with it. But yeah, Nick, I'll jump into it since it was a good segue. We'll start talking about App State's pitching staff. To the fans that are watching, again, I say it every week, I always use last weekend's performance and their rotations as a jumping off point for what I'm about to tell you. With that being said, they used Friday guy Nick Dorito, and he has a 4.5 ERA, and he leads the team in complete games with a 4-1 record as well. On Saturday, like us, their Saturday guy is arguably their best starter on the staff, and they have a stud. Gage Peterson, 3.18 ERA. 7-0 record. Perfect. He leads the team in games started, is tied for the team lead in games started with 12, and leads the team in innings pitched with 68 and strikeouts with 88. He is an absolute stud on the mound, and I'm excited to see him go against Andrew Herman, which is our stud. So that Saturday, that hump day is going to be a really good one on the mound. And Sunday, we should see Tanner Nolan. He has a 6.23 ERA, a perfect 4-0 record, and is tied for the team lead in games started with 12. He also has 47 and 2/3 innings pitch. Let me give you a couple of arms to look for this weekend, and then I'll get you their overall pitching stats. I'm actually going to start with their closer. Their closer is Jordan Fisher, 5.87 ERA, a 1-1 record, has 12 appearances on the year and 4 saves, which leads the club. They have some pretty decent, middle relief arms on this team. I'm going to start with Max Tramontana. He has a 2.84 ERA, a 2-2 record, and a team leading 21 appearances, which is good for 31 and 2/3 innings pitched this season. Another arm to look for is Logan Tibbett, 5.02 ERA, a 1-3 record on the season, 19 appearances, good for 28 and 2/3 innings pitched this year. And last name I'll give you is Everett Harris, a 5.13 ERA, 1-1 record, 19 appearances on the year, good for 26 and 1/3 innings pitched. So that's a couple of arms to look for. Like I mentioned, they're Saturday guys who I'm looking forward to the most seeing. And I should say this, not that Nick Dorito, their Friday guy, doesn't impress me. It's just that I'm hoping that our Cody Brash can do a little bit more than him on that Friday night to kickstart us for the weekend. But let's talk about their pitching stats and how it ranks in the Sun Belt. As a team, the Mountaineers are throwing 5.45 ERA, good enough for 6th in the conference. They have 9 saves on the season, good enough for 7th in the conference. They have given up 386 hits, good enough for 2nd in the conference, and fewest allowed, I should say. They have given up 288 runs, good enough for 6th fewest in the conference. 187 walks allowed, 5th is what they're ranked in fewest allowed. Strikeouts, 391, which ranks them 9th. Doubles allowed, 884, which ranks them 7th. Home runs allowed 41, which ranks them 5th, and batting average allowed is a 253, which ranks them 5th as well. Bottom line, my overall take about this staff is it's an average Sunbelt staff. They're not gonna absolutely hold you down. You're gonna have your opportunities, but if you don't show up, they're gonna beat you. And the reason being is because we know on the opposite side with their offense, they have the number 1 offense across the board. So it's either that's why I said our pitching staff is so important this weekend, because our pitching, especially our top end pitching, has to hold that offense down. So our offense can do their job against a middle of the road Sunbelt staff. So that's kind of my takeaway from what I'm looking for this weekend. I'll throw it to you guys. Tell me what you think about this App State pitching staff.
Well, I think I want to go back even further. I mean, their pitching staff is certainly going to be able to, if they hold it together, do a good job on the mound and hold on to some leads, unless the Cajuns swing the bats. I mean, that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. The one thing I do want to go back to, though, as a team, outside of just pitching, when you look at how many transfers they have on this team, they have a ton of transfers. And Josh was asking, what's the average age of these guys? I'd like to know, because just their transfers that are newcomers to this team, a junior, a senior, a sophomore, 2 juniors, actually 3 more juniors, a grad student, a senior, a junior, a grad student. They have 1 freshman that was in the transfer portal, and then a senior. So very, very experienced transfer class. Only have 4 freshmen that are newcomers this year to the team. And when you look at the relievers, we'll break it down even more. The relievers that are returning, sophomore, junior, senior, sophomore, junior, senior, junior. So lots of experience on that team. And I think that's where you see a little bit of maturity on the mound from them, is they've got 5 or 6 returners with a lot of experience. Plus you add the fact that the transfer portal was so experience heavy. I think that's where they might, outside of obviously the hitting stats, Mike, pitching wise, they may have a little bit of an advantage there too, just with the maturity of the guys that are going to be taking the mound this weekend.
And I'm kind of jealous of that. I think that's what we should have. I like our pitchers to be older and mature on the mound, that been there, done it, has the reps under their belt. I think that's the perfect formula. We shouldn't have to be relying on freshmen and sophomores. But anyways, they are like Cole said. Cole nailed all their pitching stats. Great scouting report. Their pitching's not going to blow us by. All their pitching stats kind of float in the middle of the Sun Belt. They're pretty average across the board. Good enough to win games. They have a really good offense. The Gage Peterson guy is going to be the guy to look for. According to D1 Baseball, he's a 26 draft prospect, so he's their guy. He's their dude. I think he's top notch in 68 innings, 3.18 ERA, just phenomenal. Opponents are batting 193 against him, right? Really controlling the zone. He's going to be their guy. It's going to be hard to beat him, especially on Saturday. And for Gage Peterson, he's a guy who's going to throw 93, 94. But the thing is, he has a 4-pitch combo. He has a fastball, curve, cut, slider, change. Actually, 5-pitch. So that's a guy that he's going to keep your timing off. 5 pitches is impressive. Again, fastball, curve, cut, slider, change. He's going to change speeds. He's going to change the angles of balls, the spin rates, the zones. That's just extremely impressive. His ERA, the miles, the innings he has, and a 5-pitch combo, and he's going to sit around 93, 94. So I think the pitching is beatable, but also we got to hit the ball. We're absolutely going to have to show up. We're going to have to hit our way. Our pitcher's going to have to cool it down. ERA is 6th? Cole, said 6th in the conference, right? Just a team that's the benefit of being them at home. They're going to have home field advantage. They got their pitching. Most of their guys are sitting about a 4 to a 7 ERA from that middle of the pack. So even if you get to the bullpen, the back end's still going to be pretty impressive. They're still going to hold it down. Not great, but enough to keep them in the game. They're going to hit their way through. But yeah, that's basically what I got, man. We're just going to have to really just play some really good ball from top to bottom against App State on the road.
Look, and I'm certainly not I'm not comparing Georgia State's hitting stats to App State. However, I do want to give a little bit of perspective on the schedule before the teams, visit us. We talked about App State's, or we visit App State. We talked about App State's schedule and the teams that they've beaten and how they've come in towards the late end of the season. Let's think about Georgia State. They did get swept by Marshall in the first series of the season. They won 2 out of 3 against Arkansas State. They got swept by Texas State. They ended up winning 2 out of 3 at Monroe, okay, team that we lost the series to. They swept James Madison as well. That's what App State did. They swept James Madison. They won 1 out of 3 against Coastal. App State did not. ODU, they won 2 out of 3 against ODU. Everybody seems to be doing that this season, but they came in with, winning 2 out of 3 against ODU, feeling good about winning 1 against Coastal, feeling great about sweeping James Madison, and then get swept by us in Lafayette. So I want to give a little bit of perspective when you're looking at teams that are hot coming into play in the Cajuns as a very small sample size. It's kind of the same situation that we were in last week against Georgia State. The difference being we got to play at App where they're 17-8 this season. They're much worse on the road. They do not play well on the road, but we're going to their house. So I want to give some pause and not say it's all doom and gloom and it's going to be, we're not going to win this series. We can certainly win this series, but it's going to be a tough mountain to climb in Boone because of the fact that even though they seem a lot similar to the situation that's Georgia State, they're a better team than Georgia State. And I don't think there's any question of that.
By the way, I didn't give you your props. So a great name on the pod tonight. A tough mountain to climb is a really good name of the show tonight. So no, great job. But you're absolutely right. I mean, at this point of the season, it does come down to matchups and how you match up against the team. I thought we matched up, as we all did, extremely well against Georgia State, and you saw it on the field with a clean sweep at home. But you also mentioned the fact that now you have to go on the road and perform well against a top 3 Sun Belt team. And yeah, that's not easy to do. And I mentioned it earlier, App State is not known for their baseball program, and the success they're having right now is relatively new, at this peak. But I'm going to say this, they're riding the highest of highs because they're having one of their best Sun Belt campaigns, if not their best, since they've been here. So, yeah, going to App State is absolutely going to be a very tough challenge for the Cajuns. I have enough faith in my front end, my pitching staff, that I think they can keep us in games. And I've said this 2 or 3 times already. So if the pitching falters this weekend, especially with the way that they hit, especially with the way that our middle relief pitched Tuesday night, which the trajectory on that was basically a free fall, this weekend can get out of hand really quick. Now, with that to be said, and I know, Grant here loves to ask us this question, how many wins this weekend? I'm going to say 2. I really do. I think we win Friday night. I like the matchup with Cody Brash and their Friday guy who's not blowing anybody away. I think that Cody does enough, with his start Friday night, and Sawyer comes in after him and does Sawyer Pruitt things, which is pretty much shut the door. And hopefully we get out there Friday night with a win and kickstart the weekend. And then maybe we can scratch a win either Saturday or Sunday. Saturday is a toss-up because I have full faith in Andrew Herman. Now we know how he is on the road. It's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde situation, but maybe we get something out of Andrew Herman like, hey, this is almost a must-win situation. Like, let's get this win and seal this, weekend series. That Saturday game, the more I think about it, is really exciting.
I told you, man. I told you the way that it's playing out. This is setting up for Herman to have a good game if he plays Herman ball.
But even still, Nick, I'm even going to turn the page to Sunday. It's probably going to be Ty Roman again, which it was fine with me. Ty's been very consistent lately. Can we do more than them on the mound Sunday? Even if we drop one, either whether it be Friday or Saturday. Can we do enough on Sunday, whether it's, whoever we go with, to win that game? So I can see a situation where the Cajuns take 2 of 3. We've mentioned it throughout the entire Sun Belt schedule to this point, Nick. This team plays to competition. As aggravating as it is, it's true. That is our identity to this point. Well, lucky for us, the last 2 weeks of ball are against the 3rd place team and the 1st place team. So as long as the Cajuns actually do play the competition like they've done all season long, we might be pretty damn fine. So, yeah, I am calling for 2 of 3. I like the way we match up with them. I know what they have offensively. It doesn't scare me when you realize that Cody Brash and Sawyer Pruitt and Andrew Herman and Parker Smith and Hayden Pearson, those guys can stop an offense like this. So I'm excited for this weekend, boys. I hope the Cajuns fully wash away the performance Tuesday night, and I could see us taking 2 of 3. I really can.
You know, what I love about this show and what I love about our group chat is it's mirror image, because on Tuesday night, just during the game, was a microcosm of what just happened. We came in talking about UNO. We're like, we played our way out, all this stuff. And then now we're excited. Like we're an hour into it. Like, we're excited to play this game and get the RPI points, and maybe we can put it together, and maybe we can get it at large. But y'all, if you take that energy that Cole just had, put it into like a group chat during a baseball game, we either go into Omaha or we're firing Degs. Like, it's one or the other. And it goes from like here to here, play to play. And it's crazy. And I just sit back and I'm like, for some reason, I'm the rational one in the group. I'm not even answering sometimes, being like, y'all are being stupid. Like, we're 2 innings into the game. I think Kev the other night was like, all right, well, we have to play to win the series on Sunday. I'm like, we're the 3rd inning, homie. Like, give us a second. Like, let us play some baseball. So I just want to throw that out there because, earlier we were talking about, well, we might not make that large and have to win the tournament. Now we're talking about, oh man, we win 2 out of 3 and next weekend we playing for, it's just, I love that. I love that about you. I love the passion for our fans, but y'all know what I'm talking about. We consolidate that to one group chat. That's every game, man. It's funny to see the ebbs and flows of how our group chats go. I will agree with you though, Cole. I will say 2 out of 3, and the reason being, I'm very confident in Herm on Saturday. I like the way it sets up for him against this team. I know they hit the shit out of the ball, but he is a fly ball pitcher, and I think that works to his advantage. I think Brash is Brash, man. What I do think is if we bring Pruitt in on Friday, I need to see the Pruitt that we saw earlier in the season. We can't see the Pruitt that we saw on Sunday afternoon. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm the biggest Sawyer Pruitt fan, but Pruitt's got to step up. I understand the role he was put into as a starter. Now they've backed him off of that, but he needs to pitch the best that he can in the role that he's given, and everything else will work out, man. We'll need him for the conference tournament. We need him to be the Sawyer Pruitt of old. That starts to me this weekend. I need to see something out of Sawyer. If Pruitt can get it together, Brash does his thing. Hard to beat on a Friday night. You pair that with Herman, as y'all sometimes like to call him, and that's two wins for the Cajuns. I'm just saying, I think 2 out of 3 this weekend. Go ahead, Cole.
Well, I just wanted to touch on your Sawyer comments because I do actually agree with you. I mean, let's all keep in mind the kid's a true freshman, and for a large chunk of this season, he was our go-to guy along with Cody Brash. So it is hard, as a true freshman to go from being a Friday night starter to being a bullpen piece. So there is a mental aspect there, but I will also say this, like this ball club, and y'all might agree with this, like this ball club, Sawyer Pruitt pitches the competition. He pitches the best when the lights are bright. And I guarantee you that kid is going to take the ball this weekend knowing that is the number 1 offense in the Sun Belt, knowing that is the third ranked team in the Sun Belt, and he's going to do just fine. Unfortunately for us, when we see Sawyer pitch poorly, it's against teams that honestly aren't great competition. He kind of gets up there, and I don't know if he doesn't give it his all, or I don't want to speculate, but it's funny how that works. Like, when we see him throw against the best of the best, and he gets up there when the lights are the brightest, he shoves. But when he comes in against weaker competition with nothing on the line, it's just not there. Like, the outing just falls apart. So that gives me a little hope. I think Sawyer will be just fine. But yes, I think it is a little bit between the ears right now because of the way that his usage has been this year. He's probably frustrated. He's probably aggravated. I'm sure there's some conversations that were had. But when he gets on the mound this weekend, I expect him to be just fine.
And look, the reason I'm saying it is because I'm challenging him as a fan. Like, we know what you got, bro. We know what you got. So flush all that other shit. Be the pissed off guy that we saw against TSAB and all those times this season where you were pissed off because you wanted to win the game and stick it up their ass. That's what we need this weekend. And I hope to see it tomorrow night that would be great to see you follow up Brash with a strong performance. Mike, what are your thoughts on the weekend? How do you think it'll turn out?
I think Cole nailed it to the T with Sawyer. I think he rises to the occasion. I want to see that pissed off Sawyer. I think when you get that pissed off Sawyer on a Friday night, things happen. He can be one of the best pitchers in the nation when he's pissed off on a Friday night. And I'm assuming, Cody Brash should maybe be the starter and he's going to follow up, I'm assuming. But I think
it's funny we have to say assuming because with Deggs, you never know.
You never know till 30 minutes before the game. But I think that's a really deadly combo. And I think I think so. I think Sawyer rises to the occasion. I think Brash and Sawyer love that light. They love being the guys on Fridays. I think we're going to see a really good outing out of them too. That's a really good combo against a really good offensive team. This is a team that has not lost a series since March 29th. So they have a tall task to handle. I think they do. I think management will be key. And I also think older guys need to step up. We should not have to rely on Hayden and Parker. We know we're going to get good outings out of them too this weekend. We know we're going to get a really good Herm. We know we're going to get Brash and Sawyer. I want to see that back end. I think that back end, if all of them are on point, they could save us this weekend. I think they could really change things around if that middle reliever to closing really step up in the back end, especially on Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully we don't burn too many on Fridays, but I think I think our pitching staff is good enough to cool off their offense. And I just want to say this. I know it's kind of different, but Rigo, I just want to touch on the Rigo part real quick. Rigo, thank you for everything you've done. He's been absolutely phenomenal.
Bro, he didn't die. He's still there.
He's
in the dugout, bro. Listen, not a memorial for Rigo. We need him to cheer us on, man.
I did talk to a guy that was in the surgery with him, and he texted me this morning and said that the surgery was complete and all that. And I was like, I'm assuming 9 to 12 weeks. And he's like,
he told me like a couple days and he'll be back. That dude ain't normal. Look at Jose. Jose came and eat 3 barrels of food at my mama's. Like, these are not normal kids.
I would love Rigo back. I'm pretty sure he would play with a broken arm. He's that type of guy. That's why he's one of the toughest guys on the league. But this is a guy that was so good defensively. He had, I think 2 errors on the season. That's a JT type guy. That's a guy that could play at that next level. He was a sub 300 guy the entire year. So I just wanted to touch on that before. I didn't want to forget. I had it on my nose that Rigo, you have been phenomenal. I've never said one bad thing about him because he's such a good player, offensive, defense, and he had the right attitude. I love the way he played the game. Man, he's just phenomenal. It was like Jose on steroids type of guy, and man, I hope he can play at that next level though. I would love to have him back.
You're all up in your feelings tonight. We went from you crying about the Deggs situation and emailing the man, and now we're having an emotional, sentimental. It seems like you're saying farewell. Where you go, we love him. Farewell to you, boy. Like, it's okay, man. He might be back next season. I saw Justin talking about, is he eligible for next year? I think it might be a similar situation that Jose was in, and I think he got an extra year, so it may work out for him. But it's gonna be okay, Mike. It's gonna be all right.
I thought this year was that eligible year. I would absolutely love to have Rigo back next year. So
the reason I'm also pointing to that is nobody said it's the last game for him as a Cajun. It said last game this season because he's out. So I'm you know what, I'm crossing my fingers. But man, if you're in the fields, you want to talk later, like hit me up. We can we could talk it out. Cole, I know you want to add one more thing. Then I do have one more question about the weekend. Go ahead.
Well, I want to address this comment first. It says Rigo was our enforcer. I would argue that Colt Brown might be the enforcer.
That's what I'm saying. He wants to smoke, man. I love what I saw out of him.
Yeah, but I mean, I did want to talk about the guys in the bullpen. Mike touched on it beautifully. I'm expecting this is the weekend that you need, Parker Smith and Hayden Pearson to basically this is your time to elevate your game. And it's true, but lastly, I'm going to call on Pappenbrock and Carter, Garrett Carter, like older guys that we have to have now. Like, we need consistency now. So, yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to say. This weekend is going to be huge for our bullpen. Just, take the ball, get on the mound, and do your job. Pound the zone. Don't walk people. Don't hit people. Let's just let's just have a great weekend in Boone, boys.
You know, second base is going to be a question this weekend because of the injuries to Rigo. And look, Mark Collins, I think they took him out of the game on Tuesday. I don't know the extent of that injury. We know Rigo's. We're not sure about Mark's. Hopefully he can come back. And I think Mark is a very valuable piece to this puzzle we've put together. But I guess I do want to ask you guys, who do you want to see at second this weekend? And the reason I want to ask you guys that is because I think a very important piece of the puzzle that may play in the rest of the season is somebody that has gotten some shit earlier in the season when he wasn't performing right, and that's performing well, and that's Griffin Hebert. I think Griffin Hebert has his approach at the plate has been much better. He's showing that, you know, the Griffin Hebert we're kind of expecting to see earlier in the season, I think is starting to come around and show what all the coaches were bragging about in the fall and spring, or in the fall rather. So I just want to get your guys' take on that. I think when you're talking about guys who will play a very important piece of the puzzle through the rest of the season, I think Pruitt is one of them. And I think we're going to have to rely on Griffin Hebert. And I feel like that might be on a good trajectory for the rest of the year. KG, your thoughts?
Well, I think the biggest piece is Mark Collins, like you said, because if there's some reason he can't go, well, Lim got to play left now, right? So if you put Lim in left, now it comes between, well, are you going to stick with Donnie at second like you did Tuesday, or are you going to let Griffin play second like you did last weekend?
What you cannot do is put Big Booty at second. You cannot take him away from first base, period, end of story. I do not want to see him anywhere else on the field. Let's have that conversation right now. And I absolutely love that you brought it up because I wasn't even thinking about that. If you take Lee Amadei and put him anywhere else but first base, it's a shame. He is the best statistical defensive first baseman in the country. There is no reason he should play any other position on this field except first base. He saves you so many runs being at first base. I agree with you 100%, Nick. Seeing him listed in the lineup at second base the other night made me irate. There is no reason. He's going to go down as probably the best defensive first baseman the Cajuns have ever had. Almost to the point where it's almost not even an argument. Why are you moving him to second base on a whim? Leave that man at first and you figure out second base. He's not the answer. Anyway, yeah, give me that church music, baby, because I'm preaching. And I know y'all are the choir. But anyway, leave Lee at first. Please, please, please. But I want to throw one more name at you, Nick. Somebody that we haven't talked about. Somebody that actually played pretty damn well in the middle of the season and disappeared. Don't forget about Jace LaCava. He's an outfielder, boys. You're right. Yeah. I'm not going to lie, Jace, if you're watching, my bad, dude, but I haven't thought about him for quite a while.
Jace, he's unqualified right now, but he's still hitting 280. And when he got his chances earlier, in the middle of the season, he did a pretty dang good job. Now, he did fall off towards the back end, which is why he's not getting any more appearances. But what I'm saying is, if Mark Collins can't go for whatever reason, and Lim's got to go to left, if you got to put Donnie at second, Jace LaCava is an option on top of Griffin Hebert, right? So, but boys, it really doesn't matter. It's the same with the pitching staff. It doesn't matter which way you want to dice it and split it up. If you're on the field, take advantage of your situations. Take advantage of your opportunities. Move people over. Do the little things. So, yeah, I'm curious to see, man. I think the linchpin to all of it, though, to answer your question, Nick, is going to be Mark Collins and his availability in left field.
I agree. And look, this again, I think when I'm talking about Griffin Hebert, that's just a microcosm of what we need from this team this season. Guys have to be ready. And I know it drives us nuts in midweeks when we move guys around, but hopefully that pays dividends this time of the year where guys start to get dinged up and those dinged up players start having to sit out. I think Griffin Hebert is going to play a bigger part of the rest of the season than any of us expected, but guys like Josh Lim, Owen Galt, that's another guy we haven't mentioned at second base. He's, a possibility to play second. Mandino, he's in and out. Yeah. And these are all guys who worked while they waited and they're ready to be inserted at any time. I just need those guys to step up and execute when they get that moment as we go through into the season. I'll let you take it from here, Mike. I'll let you give your opinion on what you think it's going to happen as far as second base and what we can expect the rest of the season.
And 100% what Cole said. Lee was a DSR rated first baseman, first in the nation. That is a defensive save rating. And he was not even projected to be at first base against UNO. So I'm on the road listening to Jay Walker, and they were like, why is he not at first? And then all of a sudden, I think there was a last-minute change, maybe that Lee went back to first. But that's the million-dollar question. I think LaSalle did well enough against UNO. I thought he made routine plays. He made all the outs. But he's an outfielder. He's always been an outfielder. So I think if we're rolling Mark Collins out, that's like the million-dollar question. I personally would like to see Lim. I'm a Lim fan. I think he has a lot of power for his size. Him being an infielder naturally, it would make sense. I think Mandino went 1 for 2 against UNO, and the only reason why he got out is because he hit a hard line drive to the pitcher. So if that pitcher was out the way, he's 2 for 2 against UNO. I think that's an option in left field, Mandino. I think to me, I'm kind of gravitating towards Lim at second and maybe flirting with Donnie back in the outfield. I trust Donnie, and I'm very confident with him in right field. And then maybe Dino at left field. Griff, there's a reason why Deggs is playing Griff. When Griff gets a hold of a ball, he's really, really strong, and he could barrel up a ball, but he has not been consistent enough with his batting average. And so maybe you can see him at the DH. Maybe he goes get some reps in the outfield, and you put Dino DH in. There's so many kind of different ways that you can kind of move people around. I don't know if it's going to be set in stone all weekend. I think we might see a little movement between left and second maybe throughout the weekend. But it just naturally, it makes sense with Lim because he's already an infielder, and Dino's naturally and Donnie's naturally an outfielder. It would kind of make sense. Griff, I don't know if we'll see Griff at second. I don't know, because he hasn't gotten reps all year at second. So I don't see that happening.
Appreciate it, boys. I think we've talked all we can about App State. Just a reminder, the games are going to be on Eastern time this weekend. So when you look at our schedule as far as what time the games will start, it does say Eastern time, but easy to just look at the numbers. It'll be 5 o'clock Central on Friday, 2 p.m. on Saturday, and 12 noon on Sunday. Those are the Central times. Keep an eye out for that. And make sure to tune in on ESPN Plus. I need to text my brother, see where they're at, see what they're doing, because it is 9:45 over there. So it's probably bedtime for the boys. Maybe checking out the stadium tonight after dinner. But always a fun trip up to App State, even though it is a couple of hours from the stadium, from the airport. You know, much different. If you land in New Orleans and take a bus to Lafayette, just a much different experience than when you're in Boone, North Carolina. I cannot help but say Boone every time I say it. All right, boys, let's talk a little bit of softball, KG. And the Cajun season is ended tonight with a loss to ULM in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. Boy, Lane hopped on real quick. Lane wants to talk some softball tonight. So let's talk about that. The ladies obviously had a Heckle and let's try that again. Jekyll and Hyde season. Oh man, need to stop drinking. Jekyll and Hyde season where they won some series that were impressive, dropped some series that had you scratching your head, lost against ULM, who ended up being the number 1 team in the conference. Who'd have thunk it? And I think, Josh, we're coming back to baseball. Chill out. So, when you look at softball and the immediate reaction from some of our fans and the fan base is fire Coach Allie, she's terrible. I still maintain that she is put in a terrible position by somebody who turned out to not be the guy, Jer Bear that we all liked. Well, he saw dollar signs and he took him and he left, and he's trying to build a national contender somewhere else. But the cupboard wasn't bare. We didn't have the cupboard. He took the cupboard with the players and everything out. And she had to start from scratch 2 years ago. Now, do I agree next year we have to see something? Yes, I do. But we're not going to start this thing where fire her because of this and that. And somebody said we had the most NIL money in the Sun Belt Conference. Show me those numbers. That would be very shocking to me if that is the truth. But at the end of the day, her pitching coach was hired. after some Shaws. I'm not going to go into it, KG. I don't want to get in trouble again, but had to hire a new pitching coach, had to hire some new assistant coaches. I think it's less about her ability to coach ladies up than it is like we for 2 years have been scrambling, but next year I got to see something, KG.
No, absolutely. And you kind of took the words out of my mouth with that one. You'll get some grace on that first season, of course, because everything was done so late in the off season, Jerry leaving, the players leaving, and then she had to build an entire roster essentially with no time to do it. This year, though, there was hope. And let me just rattle off some numbers to you, right? So the Cajuns, like you mentioned, they lost tonight. We'll kind of get, to the game later. They finished the season 29-27. They were 11-13 in the Sun Belt, good enough to rank them 8th going into the tournament. But I'm going to read you 3 different stats here. And I'm going to start with the first 2, and then I'll get to the last one. They were 18-8 at home and 8-2 at neutral sites. That is good enough for 26-10 overall, right there. And you're thinking, dang, they're pretty damn good at home, and they're pretty damn good at like the tournament style stuff. Here's the problem. They were 3-17. 3-17
crazy.
in road games.
That is crazy.
This entire season hinged because they were so awful on the road this season. So, guys, we had the talent. I mean, we had 3 players that made all Sun Belt. I'm gonna get to them in a second. 3 players that made all Sun Belt, and we had the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year. We had talent on this team. It's just on the road, it just disappeared. They played terrible every time they went to the road, and it costed them. It costed them a postseason appearance again for the second year in a row. And this is a very proud program. Cajuns, arguably, Cajun softball is the program that this university hangs its hat on. I know that basketball had a lot of success back in the day, baseball as well. But we know as Cajun fans, diehards, that growing up, you never had to wonder about Cajun softball. If the baseball team, had a rough year and didn't make a regional, you could turn on the TV. You could catch, UL down the road at Baton Rouge, beating them in their own ballpark to go to a super. We saw it 3 years ago. So it's really, it's weird. It's a weird time of my life as a young Cajun fan that, we're not good at softball. And the real question, like Nick said, is how long is this administration going to let this go on? Now, we're not calling for jobs. But Allie does have to show us something next year, because if we have a repeat performance like this year, it's going to get the seat is going to be burning hot, and there's going to be some very hard conversations to have. And I'm just going to throw one name out there. You got a coach literally right down the road at Southeastern at a rival program that is having national success, not just, in conference success, national success. So if you got coaches in your own ballpark, in your own backyard, like Southeastern, like McNeese, this is a hotbed for softball. So you got to do something next year, or the seat is going to be burning hot, and there's going to be a lot of hard conversations that I hope we don't have. Allie's one of us. And I think
at the same token, don't you think Allie's thinking the same thing? Like, she came back to be a coach in college baseball, a head coach in college softball. I feel like it's a little bit of both, where we got to see something, but I think for her as well, like next year, she's probably thinking the same thing. Like, something's got to change one way or another for her personally in her life, where she could go enjoy retirement with her mom and family rather than doing this and trying to, I just feel like I feel like if something happens, it'll be a mutual thing. But there's no way. Y'all got to stop to talk about firing coaches. Give her a moment. Take a breath.
And isn't it funny that Rage and Review is the voice of reason when it comes to firing coaches? And I agree with you. I do. But Allie, I mean, there's a reason that famous interview that Allie had a couple of weeks ago went viral, and it all boiled over, is because she's understanding of the situation that she's in. And what I mean by that is she knows that these girls had the talent to do something this year, and they just couldn't put it together on the road. You can play well at home all you want, but if you go out on the road and you stink it up, which is what they did, it's going to cost you. And that's exactly what happened this season. So, the girls are going to get older. We know that we have a lot of young talent that hopefully we retain and we can, bring back next year and do good things. So, I think that we have the talent to have a good season next year, but playing on paper and actually playing the games are two different things, right? So we need to see her go out there and do it. I just hope she does it, because I would hate for us to be having hard conversations with her when she did give up a lot to come back and coach the team that she loves, back home.
I agree. And I think also to that aspect, next year we need to look at, and this is freaking crazy, but we need to look at how ULM built their roster to be number 1 in the Sun Belt Conference this year, and how Marshall has built their roster to be number 2. Now they got knocked out of the tournament, but again, like, those two programs were ever able to put together really solid teams. I'm not expecting right now at this point, like, next year to me is you got to win the conference regular season or you got to win the tournament. Like, either one of those, we got to have improvement and be able to compete with our own conference. Not being at the top of the conference, to me, is really the telltale sign of what we need to see improvement with next year. We're not talking about going to Oklahoma City right now. Like, we need to back off of that expectation. And maybe that goes with scheduling too. Maybe we don't need to schedule as hard of a season early. Maybe we need to rack up some wins to get some confidence behind us, because you saw a lot of it was mental. I mean, Coach Allie came out, said this is unacceptable. She had a meltdown, and all of a sudden we go in and we sweep Coastal. Like, that is the team that we need to see. Hopefully she puts it together. You came in here, Lane, and real quick, when I turned you to softball, did you have comments about that, or did you just miss us?
Both. But no, the fact that people, like y'all said, the fact that people are calling for her job 2 years in after what the program had gone through, like, that's nonsense. That's like saying, oh, Dez should be fired after 2 6 and 7 seasons after the success we had in football. I mean, yeah, it's not great, and it's a little different with Dez, but it shouldn't be happening right now. Next season, sure, if it's the same kind of season that we've had the last couple of years, yeah, maybe. But to say that she should be fired tomorrow, no, that's out of the question, I feel like.
Mike, do you have any comments, or we can close it out by recapping what happened tonight? Yeah, you're good. Thumbs up. All right, we need to get you a better setup, man. That's gonna be the first thing. I hear myself talking in the back. I see you. Yeah, and by the way, somebody all clowned you earlier about the navy cap and the red shawls. Dude, that's a fashion faux pas. You can't do that. I'll let you close out the softball conversation with a recap of what happened in the conference tournament. Then we'll move on, Cole.
And I just dropped my notes, so I'm sorry about that.
I saw that. Just get it together. You got time. We're all friends here. We can delay it for you.
So we kind of talked about some of their records. Again, the Cajuns in the season 29-27 overall, and they finished as the 8th seed in the Sun Belt Championship. I'll talk about quickly about their Wednesday game versus number 9 Troy. Of course, the Cajuns shut them out with a 5-0 victory. Early offense and really good pitching led the Cajuns in the win in that one to get to the quarterfinals against ULM. In that Troy game, the top hitter was Cecilia Vasquez, went 2 for 3 with a double and an RBI. And the top pitcher, of course, was Sage Hoover, who was phenomenal in that game. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, no runs, no walks, and 9 strikeouts. Awesome job by Sage. Tonight against ULM Warhawks, the Cajuns unfortunately got shut out and lost 3-0. The Cajuns lost to the Warhawks, the number 1 Warhawks, for the 4th time this season, which is something that is never a stat we want to see with our biggest rival right up the road. They have failed, of course, to reach the regionals for the 2nd straight season, which I never thought I would say that when I talk about Cajun softball. Top hitter today was Mia Lascano, went 2 for 3. Top pitcher was Bethany Noble, 4 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and a strikeout. So that's basically the recap of how the season ended, but I do want to give some love to some of the girls. All Sun Belt team was Kennedy Marceau, first team, Mia Lascano, second team, Brooke Otto, second team, and Haley Hart, second team as well. Speaking of Haley Hart, she is the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year. So as I mentioned, we got some great young talent. Hope we can retain them. Hope we can do things, great things next season. And put this conversation to bed about Allie, because I think we do need to give Allie some grace with what she gave up to come back and coach this team, and we just kind of have to support her right now. But I'm looking forward to next season and what she can do with the young core that we had this year. So to wrap it up, the Sun Belt Championships for softball look like this. I do not have an updated score for Southern Miss and South Al. If y'all do, please tell me. But on the top end of the bracket, you're going to see number 3 Texas State take on number 10 Coastal. Coastal upset Marshall today for the second year in a row. And then obviously on the bottom side, the side we were on, you'll see number 1 ULM taking on either Southern Miss or South Alabama. Do y'all have an updated score on that one? Can anybody tell me who won that ball game?
I'm pulling it up right now, and no, I do not. But keep talking, and I'll see if I can pull it up for you.
No, like I said, so it doesn't really matter. ULM's going to take on either number 4 Southern Miss, number 5 South Al. They're playing right now. I'm not sure who's winning. Like I said, my notes were made before that game started, but that's kind of what this Sun Belt.
So South Alabama won 13-0. So yeah.
Well, there you go. So ULM will play number 5 South Alabama in the semifinals, and yeah. So the lowest ranked team left in it is number 10 Coastal. Highest ranked is obviously number 1 ULM, and everything is in the backyard at Lamson Park. So best of luck to those teams, but unfortunately, the Cajun season comes to an end tonight. Just want to thank all the girls for a good season. A lot of young people that had to step up, and not much more to say than I'm looking forward to next season and what we can do with the young core that we have.
Good stuff. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And look, we'll again, we appreciate all the ladies who represent the Cajuns on the diamond. And there's one thing about softball is that is one program, and these ladies represent us with such pride, and there's never any issues. They just come in, do their job, and they're very young, as you mentioned. That we knew that coming into the season. So really expect them to make some noise next season. Let's talk about RPI. If we are talking about real-time live RPI, the Cajuns are at 53. Their non-conference RPI is 38. Our strength of schedule in totality is 58. Non-conference strength of schedule 68. So, look, do we have the resume to sneak into the conference or the regional tournament as an at-large? Yes, but we got some work to do. I think it starts with this weekend where you have to win 2 out of 3 to be in that conversation. App State is 99 in the RPI. So that is something that is going to work against you regardless. However, I think the committee looks strongly upon how you finish a season. So it's going to be very important for us to finish strong. And that starts again this weekend. Is it the end of our season? Do we not make an at-large bid if we, because of UNO, again, I'm not going to say because of UNO. After the UNO game, maybe it could affect that. But again, I think they take that into consideration that we played the game versus other teams that did not play the game. But in the end, you look at RPI, 53 right now, got some movement there. Our opponents are going to win and lose. Our opponents are going to win and lose. We're going to win and lose. So I guess my question to you guys is just very high level thoughts on the next 6 games. How many do you think we need to win to feel comfortable about sneaking in without winning any games in the tournament, in the conference tournament? KG, I'll start with you. We got 6 games left. We got the conference tournament on the horizon. Can we get an auto bid if we win a certain number of games, or do we have to win the tournament at this point? What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, your original question was how many games out of the last 6 would we have to win to not have to win any, in the tournament?
Right.
The answer
Ideally.
is 6. You would have to go 6-0. You would have to sweep both teams. Now, listen, if you do that, there is a very good chance we might get an at-large. I just don't think it's realistic at all. Like you'd have a better chance of winning the Louisiana lottery than the Cajuns sweeping App State and Coastal. I think realistically, you said it best. You absolutely have to win this weekend from an RPI standpoint, because even though App is ranked higher than us in the Sun Belt, we have a better RPI. So if you drop this series, that kills you in the RPI. That drops you. If you're able to win it, obviously you move up. So, but I don't know. To answer your question, you got to win both series. You can't drop any of them. You drop this weekend, you're out of it. You got to win the tournament. I think if you take 2 of 3 this weekend, and then maybe you take 2 of 3 from Coastal, you're probably on the bubble, like literally on the bubble of not having to win any games in the tournament. But I don't see that happening. I think in the tournament, we at least have to win 2. I think we have to go 500 in the tournament at worst. And that's with, let's say we take 2 of 3 this weekend. At worst, we only take 1 of 3 against Coastal. And then you go to the tournament and you play 500 ball. You'll probably be right on that bubble, but I'm probably leaning that it's going to be on the bad side of that bubble. To answer your question, I personally believe we have to win both of these series. Let's just call it 2 of 3, win 4 of the next 6, and then we'll have a hard conversation. But I would not be comfortable if we would go into the tournament, go 0-2. I think that shows the committee that we are not playing good ball right now, and that actually would really hurt our chances. So I'm going to stick with what I said. I think no matter what, we at least have to play 500 ball in the tournament. You would at least have to go 2-2 and hope that you've done enough and built enough of a resume to get you in there.
Yeah, and I think we have to win, as you said, 3 out of the next 6. I don't care how that's done. Now, obviously, if you win 1 against App State and 2 against Coastal, that's probably actually better, but whatever. Win 3 out of the next 6 games and then go into the tournament and you win a couple, and if the RPI game there pumps you up, like Texas State still has a pretty high RPI. Like, let's say we play at Texas State, we beat them. So that pumps you up even more. Then you have another team that has a decent RPI. I think, again, it all plays into a numbers game at that point. But the point for me is you got to win 3 out of the next 6 to even have this conversation. If we don't, then we're having to potentially get to the championship game of the conference tournament or even potentially winning it to even be in a conversation. So 500 in the next 6 games, win 2 in the tournament. I think we're good. Lane, your thoughts?
Personally, I think we obviously need to win 4 out of the next 6. But I think we need to
win. Are you saying 4 out of the next 6 or 3?
4.
4. Okay.
Yeah. And then I think we need to win at least 3 in the tournament.
My man is saying we need to win a lot of games.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Just to feel comfortable, I guess.
Yeah. No. Trust me. I'm going to be on there because we're going to do a watch party for the picks, right? And if we're on the verge, I might throw up on air. I've like literally gotten. You remember Miami when we were like, "Are we getting in? Or are we not?" And I was like, "I'm about to throw up." We didn't do it live. I will do that live, Lane, if we do that. But look, 4 out of 6 to me, and win 3 in the tournament. There, no doubt, we're in. I agree with you. I don't think we need to go that far, but I do agree with you. That would be no doubt feeling comfortable. We're in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. Feel comfortable about it. Yeah.
Mike, your thoughts?
I agree. I think if you take 4, you don't have to make such a dramatic run in the Sun Belt tournament. I think if you take 3 out of the next 6, you really need to do some damage in the Sun Belt tournament. So it starts with App State. It's a must-win series. You have to take 2 this weekend, and then try to sneak 1 from Coastal. It's hard to even look past that, because if we don't take 2 from App State, we're just in such a bind, and it starts there. I would rather not have to make a deep run in the tournament. I don't know if I trust our back end of the pitching and that much depth to get us in that far of a run, but because there's a lot of good teams in the tournament. So I think it starts with App State. Give me 3, and then 3 or 4 in the next 6, and we can start feeling comfortable in the tournament. But realistically, we need 3 in the next 2 series.
Grant talking about 2023 at RPI at 48, and we got it. Look, I get that. I agree with you. But there's a lot that happened for that. We need to keep in mind, if teams that aren't supposed to win a conference tournament win, and then they have high RPI teams in their conference, then now they're stealing bids. So 2023, we're on the benefit of not a whole lot of stolen bids. This year, you don't know how that's going to play out in the tournament. I mean, if a whole bunch of teams that are supposed to win with high RPIs win their tournament, then we're good, potentially being in the 40s. I'm not comfortable until we're in the low 40s, upper 30s. Like that point, then I'm starting to feel okay. But right now, like 48's not going to get us in my opinion.
Well, look,
and I do think that getting 4 out of the next 6 would be beneficial, so that we're not in the play-in.
It'd be a huge step. You are correct, and that's the point I'm trying to make.
I would rather be straight in the double elimination part.
You are correct. You are correct.
I was just answering back to Grant. I'll take it a step, sooner. Last year, we saw Troy have 39 wins and the same RPI. I want to say they ended the season with a 48 RPI, and they got left out. So we can't use 20. Every season is different. Every RPI ranking of every season is different. Some seasons have, you're fighting and clawing to get in the field of 64. Some fields of 64. Some years are very light at the end. Like a couple years ago, we saw Oklahoma get in and they were, a game over 500? We saw Florida get in like 2 games over 500.
Well, we saw TSAB get in, who had a losing record in conference one year, and that pissed me off. They should have never been in it. But they will always get the benefit of the doubt because they get the SEC bias.
But the point I want to reiterate to fans is that you can't use past statistics of the RPI to dictate what's going to happen this year, because every year is different. Some years are top heavy, some years are spread out. So, but it does start with that, Mike. You're absolutely right. If you go to App State this weekend and only win a game or get swept, we're done. You gotta win the tournament at that point. I would say even if you would sweep Coastal, if you drop this series, I still think you have to win games in the tournament at that point. So, it starts and ends with App State, boys. I really hope that the boys show up to the ballpark in Boone ready to go, because it is a big deal this weekend.
I think it's time for Rage and Review After Dark. It's Grimmies, brought to you by Lafayette Travel and Eat Lafayette. We got a tough one this week, and I'm going to say this with no context. I'm just like, first thing out of your mind when I ask you, cast iron or Magnolite? I'll start with you, Mike, because I want to go to KG next. I feel like we're going to fight over this. And I'm not talking, I don't want to hear about, I cook this and that. I just want to hear first thought. Cast iron or Magnolite, Mike?
Magnolite.
Okay.
It's iconic in the South. It's Cajun. It's our culture. It's what everybody I know cooks their rice and gravy in.
Okay. I respect that. Now, Lane, I know last time I told you, you don't cook, and you corrected me very quickly. So I know that you cook, but I know you're from North Louisiana. And I don't know what the hell y'all use up there. Probably some Tupperware. I don't know. Whatever y'all do in North Louisiana, but you're a South Louisiana boy now. So first thought, cast iron or Magnolite?
Oof, I've actually cooked in cast iron. I've not cooked in a Magnolite.
So there's your answer.
Yeah. No,
all right, KG.
Magnolites are good, but
my first impression is going Magnolite. Sorry, KG. That's where I'm going. I'll explain why. We'll get into the details. We'll open it up to everybody, but go ahead.
Well, this is like asking which hand I prefer, my left.
Why is he waving at the camera and being like?
I guess Jerry came in to be the tiebreaker tonight, right? In case it's a dead split, he gets to be the tiebreaker. But Nick, like I said, you're asking me whether I like my left hand or my right hand more. Well, I guess
it depends for what.
Well, let me say that. Hey, you said Rage and Review After Dark, buddy. But it goes with what I cook in more, and I cook more in a Magnolite. Have a nice little Magnolite. I owe one from my grandparents. Magnolite is my answer.
But okay, so now we can get deep into it. Cast iron to me, for certain thing, like if I'm making a roux, I'm using that cast iron, man. There's nothing like a roux on a cast iron. Sometimes if you want to make a sauce, man. But Magnolite is so consistent. Like if you take that roux you made in the cast iron and put that in the Magnolite and then make it gumbo, bruh. To me, that's the way to go. Jerry, what? Did you want to comment on this? You're waving at me. What happened?
I want you to let me in, dude.
Well, you're in. So what do you want?
I'm gonna say Magnolite. I'm going Magnolite. Right, good rice and a gravy. I like a good gumbo and a Magnolite. I will say about the cast iron. And Nick, you actually may agree with me on this. Would you say a long marinated roast would be better in a cast iron than a Magnolite? I think if you want to let the roast sit a little bit longer and cook slower, I like the cast iron.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I usually do my jambalayas in the Magnolite. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think,
look,
KG?
What Real Cole, Man About Town is saying is not all that wrong. The serious chefs, the serious cooks that know how to use a black cast iron pot, that is the way to go.
Well, it's not even how to use it, how to clean it.
Well, no, but it's all of it, right? So Magnolite around here is universal. Like even if you don't have the OG one, if you have one that's similar to it, that's what everybody almost that I know has one and they use, right? But the people that I know how to cook can use a black iron, cast iron pot, like the Luke Burbanks of the world, right? You can ask Mike. Every time Luke does anything on his patio, it's in a black cast iron pot. So all I'm saying is, like I told you early on, do I like my left hand or my right hand more? I love them both. It's just, what are you cooking? What's the occasion? But bottom line, the better quality of food, at least to me, has come out of a black cast iron pot. And I wanted to let you know that Man About Town is not all that wrong about his comment.
I think Luke is still trying to get his son to eat. He tried to get that boy to eat all day Saturday. Still, that boy would not eat.
I think we're going to have to do a raging review after this, like a party after the season. And if I would tell Luke, hey, you want to cook for the boys?
Oh, yeah.
We might have to do something at Burbank Bar and Grill. I know he would love to do something for Raging Review. And
I'll pitch in too. I'll help. I'll contribute, whatever we need to do. And yeah, I'm down for that. That would be a lot of fun. And it's crazy to think that the end of the season is just around the corner, no matter what happens, unless we make it to like Omaha. Like, you got to think May is going to be the end of baseball for us for quite a while, unless we get to a super or above. So
I want to mention this now, Nick, before, and I'm going to stop talking. But before we get off the show, we do have to say it. Next week is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Let's let the fans know there will be some adjustments with the show going on. Probably going to do it on a Wednesday, I would say, Nick?
That would be correct. And we don't have any midweek, so that shouldn't interrupt anything outside of, I don't know what else is going on in sports. Major League Baseball, a Stanley Cup. Are we at the finals yet in the Stanley Cup? No, we're still playing. So maybe, but yeah, no, nothing Cajuns wise should interrupt you guys watching the show next weekend. Or next week. So it should be a Wednesday Shaws for us. And then our post game would be Saturday, which I don't know if that's going to be here or Lafayette quite yet. Cause I'm going back and forth trying to figure out my life right now, but yeah. Or maybe I'll go. I don't know. I need to go back. I just had too much fun, man. Plus, a lot of people will be there for a big series against Coastal Carolina. Mike, what you got?
No, I was saying you should make the coastal trip. You should come to Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That's easy for people to say who don't have to drive the 4 hours and figure out their work schedule and go to a different office and then, yeah. Oh, easy for you to say, dog.
At least the Saturday, our last tailgate, we have to go all out the Saturday.
I don't want to tell people where I'm going to be because I already got T-side fans threatening my life because I talk shit about sports. So whatever. Before we go, and this is, again, we get into after dark territory when we start this portion of the show. But I do want to say Jody Amade that's a wild man, bro. Jody Amade is a wild man. That was a state senator, KJ. My boy was a state senator. I didn't respect how big of a deal Jody Amade is, but damn, man. That dude's wild. I love me some Jody Amade.
No, Jody knows how to have a good time. But I'm going to take it a step further, Nick. This season specifically, I've gotten to know some of the players' dads more so than ever before. Jody being one of them, Jeff Pruitt being one of them, Josh Lim's dad. Just across the board, just great guys. Like honestly, on and off the field. So no, it's been fun. But Jody, of course, is one of one, and he actually came sit with Section 8 a little bit on the Saturday. So. We absolutely enjoyed his presence there. But man, just again, so many great conversations had at the Section 8 tailgate over the weekend. Guys, again, anybody watching, if you haven't been to one, Mike is absolutely correct. Make the Saturday Section 8 tailgate against Coastal a priority because it is going to be so much fun. I already know what we're doing. It's a barbecue day. We're going to be doing pork steaks, leg quarters, hot dogs, hamburgers. If it's wrapped in bacon, it's on the pit. So,
Cat, my boy said bacon on top of bacon, bacon wrapped bacon. I'm all about that, baby.
No doubt. But no, make the tailgate a priority for the Saturday Coastal game. Like I said, we tailgate with the parents. We tailgate with Section A, which is a fun time. We tailgate with visiting fans when they come. So, if you have never been to one, I recommend making it a priority because once you come one time, you're going to keep coming back.
By the way, I know I shit on Jerry all the time because that's fun to do, but he did hook me up with some passes to the stadium club when I went in. So thank you, Jerry. That was very. Look, I may buy tickets next to y'all. In fact, I talked. Do you know Schlischer, who sits right in front of you guys, and Frank Babin's daughter, who sits right next to y'all? I talked to all those guys, and they were fantastic. Who sit around your parents where they sit? No,
I don't want you sitting by me. Why are you going to sit by me for? Go sit somewhere else.
As I was saying, it was good to see all the people who sit around. But no, thank you for
no problem,
the passes.
man.
That was awesome.
Well, when you took the picture, I was like, oh, good, he's sitting in the seats, and it helps with shade. So
yeah, for sure. And I still got sunburned somehow. I think that was from the tailgate, KG, because I had the little shawls right here. I look like a damn raccoon. Whatever, it's all good. But thank you for that, Jerry. Anytime you want to give me say, okay, so I'm going to be working in Louisiana on that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was planning on going Sunday. Maybe I scoot out early on Friday, drive over there and meet you guys for Saturday. We'll see. I don't want to get too crazy because my brother and I, after the game on Saturday night, went over to Dino's, and then the Pruitts were there, which was cool, and some other guys from UL were there, so we all had dinner. But I don't know what it is with, and I know I brought that big gallon. Luke attacked that gallon of margarita I brought from Legends, but I don't know what it is with margaritas, man. That just gives me a headache. I can't do that anymore. Maybe I'm getting too old.
He passed it around at the tailgate. That was a fun time.
My dude's like, I'm sorry. I think we knocked it out. And I'm like, nah, I wasn't taking it home, dog. Like, that's why I brought it.
Yeah, he didn't give us a chance. He was going mouth to mouth, like pouring it like we were teenagers at a house party. Like you had no options. It was almost like he was coming up to you like, all right, here we go.
That is awesome.
Yeah, Luke had him a time Saturday. We all did. Saturday was a really great day to be a Cajun. There was a lot of fun at the tailgate for both games, and then after the game, we had a lot of fun as well. Shout out to Ryan Sports Bar RSB.
Yeah, what happened at RSB? I saw a lot of why. So my question is, why were your overalls and white boots on Ryan's deck the next day? That's what I want to know. What happened, bro?
So, of course, when you go to RSB, beer's flowing. He has a great setup. Shout out to Ron. Shout out to RC. So, beer's flowing. We got karaoke mics handed out all over the place. He's got 3 mics on his back patio at any given time for anybody that wants to sing karaoke. So,
and they take it seriously, by the way. You can't, don't shit the bed, because if you say you suck, they're going to boo your ass.
Oh, yeah, they're going to make you give the mic to somebody else. But it started, the question was, how did my boots and my overalls end up on, his patio? Shout out to Doug. Dougie Fresh, friend of the pod, decided to do a full cannonball in the pool that night, and I followed right behind him, took off the boots, and jumped in the pool with my coveralls. So went swimming with Dougie Fresh. It was a good time. Like I said, Saturday was a great day to be a Cajun.
How'd you feel the next when you got home, by the way?
That I didn't want to answer that. See, I didn't even get home. I left Ryan's in about 20 minutes down the road. I had to tap Blair on the shoulder to pull over, and I just emptied my bowels because of how much I drank from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. So, yeah, Saturday was great, but the aftermath was horrific, and the hangover was even worse. Shout out to Bam Williams, though, for buying me a box combo the night before that I ate for breakfast the next day, and it got me back to the ballpark on Sunday. So, I ended up recovering pretty nicely, and the Cajuns got the sweep.
Mike, you're dying. You had that trigger.
I just want to say, man, when the Cajuns win, it is a fun time. We have fun at the tent. We have fun at the tent after the game. And after they win all the time, and the party keeps going, and going to Ryan's for the first time, I was on the mic. I am not a karaoke guy, and I was on the mic, and tons of fun. When the Cajuns win, everybody has fun, and it was fun with all you guys.
Please play more night games on Saturday. That needs to happen.
I know, bro. Like, we got so liquored up. It was fun. And it was fun, too, because it was a doubleheader, so we were out there early. But even if not, we'll be there early if it's a night game,
I can get Deggs' reasoning from a player standpoint of why you want to play early so you're well rested for the Sunday game. I get it. But from a fan standpoint, it's a night and day difference. The Saturday night 6 p.m. first pitch atmosphere is so different than the 2 p.m. atmosphere. And then after the game, you get to go back to the tailgate and hang out and have fun, which is exactly what we did. So, yeah, if you want your atmosphere to be electric, not only on Friday night, but Saturday as well, we got to find a way to start playing 6 p.m. Saturday night games again.
I think Doug's telling me his due whopped in that pool. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate you sharing that. It would be cold at this time of the year. Before we go, boys, I do want to thank Joel Bio, Video Brian, and the whole crew for letting me go check out their setup there, man. I got to tell you, we got one of the best setups and one of the best teams in the Sun Belt Conference, and I'm probably this summer going to try to raise some money for them to get a couple of upgrades. But the good news is I think they're going to have not only that trailer soon, I heard other things may be in the works, so fingers crossed that we can get some upgrades there and get some things done for Joel and the entire team, because that stream team is elite. When you see other stream teams around the conference, you really do appreciate, especially no shaky cameras from center field. Like, that drives me nuts. Anyway, I'm not gonna go too much into that. Boys, it's been a lot of fun tonight. I think we got everything out that we needed to get out, and we'll be back for the Sunday post game. I certainly will be. Whoever can make it, that would be great to see you boys as well. But for my boy KG, for Lane, for Mike, and for Jerry, and for Natty Light, I am Nicholas. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And as we tell you always, go Cajuns.